Namaste and welcome back. Today we are doing something different. You are listening to Kiran on Karuna Yoga with Compassion. We are going to tear down the image of yoga as an exclusive club of pretzel makers and quiet meditators. We are here to talk to the Un-yogi, the person who drives, who shops, who cleans, who stresses, if you're somebody like me. And if you breathe and live your life in the modern world, this talk is for you. We're talking about life's biggest stretches, the moments off the mat, and that truly test your patience and peace. So, if you have anything to contribute, how you maintain your peace and your patience, you know the number is 1877 265 5992. Please call and we can have a deep conversation there. The hardest physical posture isn't the split or handstand. The hardest posture is the life posture you adopt when your external chaos hits. When your flight is cancelled, or when your toddler is having a meltdown, when your internet goes down, and when you receive a stressful email. That tightening in your chest, that clenching in your jaw, that is the shape of your current practice. That's when your real yoga begins, because the challenges moves from flexibility to resilience. Let's look at the foundational text of yoga, the Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. In there, the sutra number 1146 gives us the technical definition of a stable posture, or the asana. And it goes, Sthira Sukham Asanam. Sthira means steadiness, firmness, effort. It's that grounding energy, the foundation. Sukham is the ease, the comfort, the sweet space. It's the softening, the space to breathe within the effort. And asanam is literally the posture or the seat. Now mind it, it didn't say your leg must be behind your head, or it says your posture might be steady and easy. This is the mandate of your state of being and not just your body. The core goal of every yoga tool is to create a state of steady ease, to maintain your sukham, even when the sthira of life or the effort and the commitment is required, and the circumstances around you are chaotic. The moment you lose your sukham, you collapse into reaction. The hardest part about mastering the life posture is the self-criticism that follows. When you react with anger in traffic, or you beat yourself up, that's when we introduce karuna, or compassion. It is the yoga of treating yourself with kindness, especially when you inevitably fail. So how do we do that? We first acknowledge the effort, the sthira that you put in, even if the outcome wasn't perfect. And you offer yourself ease, or the sukham, in other words, forgiveness. If you struggle to hold a vrikshasana on a tree pose on the mat, you don't call yourself a failure. You just try again with a bit more patience. Karuna is applying that exact same gentle attitude when you fail to be patient in the grocery line. It's the safety beneath, the safety net beneath your biggest stretches. Now, to put this in perspective, I'll share a story. I once had a student, a high-powered lawyer who hated Shavasana. She would twitch and fidget every time. We called her the Shavasana Scrambler. She viewed stillness as wasted time. But one day, her cross-country flight was delayed by 6 hours on a tarmac, no internet, no cell phone. Later, she called me, panicked, but then said, I sat there for 6 hours, staring at a blank seat back, and I realized I wasn't fidgeting. I was just waiting. The anger passed, the frustration dissolved, and that was the longest Shavasana of my life for the first time. And I was okay with it because I finally gave permission to be myself and just be. No self judgment, just the reality of weight. I'll take a pause. If any of these things are triggering thoughts, give us a call. 1-877-265-5992. What do you do when chaos around you is getting to you? How do you find your peace and patience? How do you find your sthira? You're driving, you're late, and someone cuts you off. What happens physically? Look at your shoulders. Do they hike up? Does your jaw clench? Are your hands gripping the wheel? What happens inside of you? The adrenal glands dump a stress cocktail, cortisol and adrenaline. Your heart rate spikes, your vision tunnels, and your breath shrinks into the top of your chest. You're just initiated the fight or flight response. You've literally gone to war with the car in front of you, and your nervous system doesn't know the difference between a minor traffic infraction and being chased by a tiger. This is where you breathe, and that is your pranayama. It means the control of your life force or your breath. You take deep 3 breaths, and that's your emergency brake. It calms the system immediately. You inhale deeply into your belly, and then into your ribs, and then into your chest up, and you exhale slowly in reverse. By consciously making your exhale longer than your inhale, you are sending a direct signal to your vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is the primary conductor of the parasympathetic nervous system, which actually allows you to rest and digest. This long exhale tells your brain, I am safe, which overrides the flood of the cortisol and the adrenaline you just had. I'll share a story. In the early Christian tradition, the desert fathers would retreat to the wilderness to find spiritual clarity. They faced endless monotony and inner turmoil. One story tells of a young monk who complained the endless distraction. His elder instructed him, saying, if the wind rages, do you argue with it? No. You simply shut your door and wait for the calm. Your thoughts are the wind, and your breath is the door. So you don't fight the emotion or the traffic, you manage your reaction. Your breath is the tool that shuts the door against the storm, keeping your inner sanctuary calm. Now, many studio students who go to the studio, especially beginners, realize that they're only truly breathing from their belly when they're lying down in Shavasana. As soon as they sit up or start moving, or sometimes encounter stress, the breath retreats to the chest. This is a learned response, actually. We have trained ourselves to breathe shallow, which constantly signals anxiety to the brain. I've had one student, a taxi driver, who stopped practicing Dirgha Pranayama at every red light. He reported not only feeling calmer, but actually lowering his blood pressure because the repetitive conscious breathing was retraining his nervous system. Actually, the car became his perfect classroom. So imagine another situation. You're standing in line. The small window of time is immediately filled by mental chaos. You grab your phone, you check your email, you scroll social media, you start doom scrolling, or replay a past conversation. Meanwhile, you see the tempting candy bar display, and you literally everywhere but where you are and your wallet is paying the price. Your mind is scattered, seeing easy stimulation. So what do? You go back to your drishti, your focused gaze. Inside of a studio, you gaze at a point to hold your balance. And if your gaze wanders, you lose your balance and you fall. In life, drishti is about intentional focus, choosing what you look at, listen to, or think about. It's the antidote to vritti, which is your distractions. So, coming back to the grocery line, what do? You use your drishti, you stare at a single point like the floor tile or a person's collar and breathe. Commit to not checking to your phone for 90 seconds, maybe. Notice the craving to reach for your device, or that craving is actually vritti. By holding your gaze, you train your mind to stay anchored. There's a story from Mahabharata that further exemplifies this. The great warrior Arjuna was being tested in archery by his teacher Drona. And Drona set up a wooden bird and asked each student what they saw. One said the trees, the sky, another said the bird and the branches. But when Dronacharya asked Arjuna, he replied, I see only the eye of the bird. So, one of the students, I'd like to talk about that, shared that her biggest vritti or distraction was social media, scrolling when bored. This happens to all of us, including me. And what did she do? She applied her drishti or her focused gaze by committing to stare at the ceiling fan in her kitchen whenever she felt the urge to grab her phone. She said the moment she focused on the fan's rotation, the urge didn't disappear, but it's lost its urgency. She created a tiny critical space between the stimulus, which is boredom, and the response, which is scrolling. Believe me, the grocery line is a perfect training ground for this self-control. Take this as a challenge. Next time you're in a line or a meeting, pick up one object, a pen, a plant, or a coffee cup. Commit your focus to it for 1 full minute. Notice how your mind tries to pull your gaze away. That pulling is your practice. This is the simple way to find your sthira in a scattered world. Reminder, the number is 1877-265-5992 if you have anything to share to further the conversation. Another thing is raga-dvesha, which is another concept. Imagine a pile of dirty dishes or a basket of unfolded laundry. The chores that drain our energy because we resist them. I have a bag full of laundry sitting on my chair in my bedroom from last 3 weeks. All it takes is, I know in my mind, all it takes is 3 minutes or 5 minutes tops to take it down and fold them and put them in. But I'm not there yet, 3 weeks. And that's what it is, the resistance. That we categorize them as dvesha or aversion, something to be avoided. We can only chase raga, which is attachment to pleasure. This aversion/attachment in combination, raga-dvesha, cycle is that traps us in misery. How do we get out? One is tapas, which translates to discipline. It is the willingness to show up and do the hard work without complaint. It is the fire of commitment that burns away resistance. How do we bring this into our flow? I can turn into laundry. I inhale, pick up a towel, exhale, smooth out the creases, inhale, fold, exhale, stack it up. The goal is to find flow in repetitive tasks, turning it from a chore into a moving meditation. The laundry basket is suddenly my altar. I'll tell a story of a Zen master. There was a famous Zen master who was asked, "What did you do before enlightenment?" He replied, "I chopped wood and carried water." Further, the student asked, "What do you do after enlightenment?" And the master replied, "I chop wood and carry water." The lesson here is that enlightenment is not the end of the chores. It is the change in the attitude towards the chores. It's the moment you realize the sacred is in the simple act of chopping wood and not the mystical journey to get there. So how do we turn that into our kitchen warriors? Let's add some physical practice to this philosophy, right? So when you're at your sink washing dishes, widen your stance like a modified warrior 3, and then keep on washing. Breathe, find patience, and move on. What are the things that we learned or we took away from today's conversation? One, when you're in traffic, breathe for patience and decline the gift of anger. When you're in a grocery line, focus, use your drishti for presence and to commit to your intention. When you're in a kitchen or doing your chores, use discipline or tapas to find that endurance and the flow in the mundane. If these micro practices resonated with you, then you're ready for the bigger stretches. That's where our studio comes in. Karuna-Yoga with Compassion. We are in Pleasanton. We have online as well. Our entire philosophy, from our online classes to our in-studio sessions, is to build that core idea of Karuna, or which is compassion for self. This means every class is an environment of radical self-acceptance. We don't teach poses, we teach presence. We teach patience. And most importantly, we teach self-acceptance. When you practice Karuna, you allow yourself a pillow in Shavasana or a break when you need it. It is the gentle foundation that makes steady effort, which is Sthira, possible. I've had a bad knee and a bad wrist from last 1 week. That prevented me from doing my own practice. But when I show up to teach, I'm not able to teach or show a pose in its fullest form because of these pains and aches that I have. Now, I could take that as self-criticism and think I'm a teacher, and if I'm not showing it to my students well, that is not going to benefit me or my students that are coming to the studio. Instead, I show up with self-compassion that yes, I'm human, I'm living, I have a body that can sometimes feel pain. But I still show up, and the students in turn show up, and together we make it a practice of self-discovery, self-acceptance, and patience. Our online classes, for the ones who are not close to Pleasanton or cannot, life situations, cannot make it to a classroom, they are perfect for that integrated, quick practice of pranayama drishti during a day in the morning or in the evening from the comfort of your home or wherever you are. Our teacher offers transforming your home into this personalized sanctuary where you can master your own environment. Now, if you are the kind who loves community, then we offer this energy of community. It's unique, allowing for deeper instruction and holding the drishti. You'd be learning to maintain your breath in this dynamic, challenging setting. Yet, it's a safe space to fail and practice karuna for self. Not only that, we are coming up with our teacher training. We're very, very, very different. Don't take my word. Come and speak to us. It is specifically designed to empower the future instructors to teach yoga for daily life. We focus heavily on functional anatomy, your behavioral sciences, and ethical practices like karuna. We train our teachers to see that mat as a metaphor for the world, ensuring that they can help students apply these concepts that we studied today about drishti, pranayama, tapas, not just in the studio, but also take it to their homes, their careers, and traffic jams. Whether you join us in person or online, you'll be joining a community committed to finding that steady ease, sthira sukham, over perfection. Finally, you don't need 2 hours on a mat to be a yogi. You just need 10 seconds of intentional breath in a moment of stress. You need 1 minute of focused gaze when the distraction temptation hits. These micro practices are the real biggest stretches that changes your life. Start small. The world is your studio and your life is your most important posture. I would actually suggest that you would look at your coming days until next week. Practice one or two things and then share. Call in and share next time when we come together on the call. Until then, namaste.